Alright, so we have our front end complete. Now we need to move to the more complicated admin area. Alright, so we want to be able to go to cool CMS /admin /dashboard, and what we want is the dashboard controller to display our view and do whatever else we need to do. So let me close all these first. Alright, so we want to go to, in our application folder, controllers, and then in the admin folder we want to create a new file called dashboard.php. Alright, so this is going to be the dashboard controller. So php class dashboard is going to extends my controller. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do here is create an index function which will serve as our main page. So public function index, and we want to get articles. So basically we're going to get the articles, categories, and users, because if you remember on the dashboard it's going to show all three of those things, kind of an overview type of thing. So our data array, I'm going to add a value for articles and set that to the model. So this article model get underscore articles. Alright, and we're going to pass in ID. Okay, so that's what we want to order it by, and we want it to be descending, and let's get 10. We'll get the latest 10. Alright, so that takes care of the articles. We already created the get articles method in the model. So let's just copy this, and next we want to get categories. So let's replace this categories and say this. Now we're not going to have a category model, okay? So we're going to use the article model for categories as well. Yes, you could create a category model, but I don't really think it's needed. Categories are part of the articles. So we're going to say get categories, and same thing, we're going to have the same parameters, except I'm going to get 5 categories. Alright, now for users, users, and for this we're going to use the user model, and we want get users, and basically pass in the same thing. We're going to get 5. Actually, we don't need quotes around the integers. Alright, and then we want to post our view or connect to our view. Alright, so we're going to do what we did here. We're going to do what we did back in the Gaming Place CodeIgniter project. We basically had a value called main content, like this, main content, and then the view that we want, which is going to be in the admin folder, in the dashboard folder, and index. Okay, so that's the view, but we're also using layouts or templates, and that we're going to load with the view. So this load view, and here's where we're going to put our layout, which is going to be an admin layouts / main. Okay, so main's going to be the main layout for this, for the application, and we just want to pass in data. So that's all we need for the dashboard index controller function. So now we want to go into the models. Okay, I'm going to go in the article model. We already have get articles. So now what we need to do is we need our get categories. And I'm going to paste that in. Okay, so we're going to have the same parameters. Get categories, we're going to select all from categories, and if limit is not null, so if we include a limit, we're just going to say this dB limit, and then whatever the value is, and then an offset, which we don't really need to pay attention to right now. And then if we have an order by, then we're just going to say this dB order by, and then whatever field we passed in. With this call right here, we passed in ID. We want to order by ID. Alright, then we're just going to return the result. Alright, so that's that. Let's save that and then open up the user model. And I'm going to paste in the get users function, which is also very, very similar. Actually, I think it's identical to get categories, except we're using users right here. We're getting it from the users table. So we'll save that. So right now, if we go ahead and reload this admin dashboard page, it's looking for our layout. It's looking for it's looking in admin layouts main.php. So we need to create that. So we want to go to views, and then in the admin folder, we want to create a new folder, and this is going to be called layouts. And we'll go in there, and let's create a file, and we're going to call this main.php, and let's just do a test. Alright, so that's being loaded. Now what we need to do is open our HTML template, admin index. Okay, we'll open that. And I'm just going to copy everything in this file and paste it in the main.php. So this right now is all static content. So we want to fix our paths to our CSS files. Okay, so we need to say php echo base URL assets/CSS. Okay, and we'll do the same down here. So that should bring in the CSS files. And then these links here, we have a dashboard link, which is going to go to the base URL. And let's see, actually, you know what, this is going to go to base URL admin/dashboard. Okay, log out, we haven't created this yet, but we might as well just put the path in. It's going to go to base URL admin/users/logout. And I also want to have a view site link that will take us to the front end and open it in a new page, a new tab, sorry. So this will be called view site, and it's going to go to base URL, and actually that's it, it's just going to go to base URL. And we want it opened in a new window, so we're going to say target equals _blank. Okay. Now for our search box here, the search form, I want to use the CodeIgniter form helper for this. All right, so I'm actually just going to grab that and replace this whole form with it. And I think we've used it before, but I'll just explain it. All right, so to create the opening form tag with the form helper, you want to say echo form open, and then the first parameter is going to be where you want this to be submitted. In this case, it's going to be the articles index page. And then the second is an attributes or options parameter where you can add attributes. For instance, right here, we're creating an array named attributes, and we're just setting the class to this class. All right, you can put any attribute you want here. You can put ID, whatever, anything that you would put in the HTML version. All right, and then here, echo form input is going to output a text box. All right, and it takes a data array with attributes. Okay, so we have the name attribute, which is keywords. We have a class. We have a placeholder, and again, you could put any attribute you want. And then to close the form, you just want to echo out form close. All right, so that's just a different way of displaying forms in CodeIgnite. All right, so let's see what else we have here. What we're going to do is break this up into, we're actually going to create an includes folder. And we've done this on almost every project we've done. Okay, because we want to break up the head, the footer, and the sidebar. All right, and this is, I believe, is this where the sidebar starts? Actually, no, this is the sidebar here, from here to here. And let's just fill in the correct links here. All right, so overview is going to go to the dashboard. So PHP echo base URL, and it's going to go to admin / dashboard. And I'm just going to copy this, and next we're going to go to the articles index, I believe. So articles / index. Actually, you know what? We don't need the index. Okay, and then categories is going to go to admin categories. Users, we'll go to admin users. Settings, admin settings. And we also want groups, so I'm going to copy this. We didn't include that in our HTML, so it'll go to admin / groups. And then the main content is going to be, we're going to leave this div, and then from here, actually, where does this end? So everything in between that div I'm going to take out. And I'm going to put this into the articles index view. So I'm going to create a new folder called articles, okay, and a new file called index.php, and I'm just going to paste that in there for now and save it. And then back in the main, we want to output our main content, which is going to be whatever view we want to show. So I'm just going to paste this in. Okay, it's going to load view main content. So this is exactly what we did back in the Gaming Place project. Alright, and then down here is just the footer. So let's break this up. Alright, so from, I think it's here. Row. From right here, this beginning row div and up, I'm going to grab that and put that in layouts, includes, and then a new file is going to be header.php, and we'll paste that in there, save it. Alright, so now back to main PHP. Now I'm going to grab the sidebar and cut that out and create a new file called sidebar.php. Paste that in, save, and then back in main PHP, we just want to include the header in the sidebar that we just took out. Okay, and I'm going to leave this ending div here and then take from here down and cut it and then put it in the footer file. Alright, so now our main layout is just a couple lines. Alright, so we'll save that and let's just see what happens here. Alright, so unable to load requested file, admin dashboard index. Oh, wait a minute. I said articles. That's not what we want. I want this to be named dashboard. We'll do the articles after. Dashboard. I think that's right, yeah, and then inside of there we have index, so that should do it. Okay, so the content is showing up, but it's all out of whack. I'm guessing that the dashboard CSS file isn't linked correctly. So if we do a Control U dashboard, all right, so the dashboard CSS file isn't showing up. Let me just make sure that we actually brought it over. So let's see, cool CMS, assets, CSS. Okay, we didn't bring the dashboard file over. That's CSS file. Okay, so let's try that again. Alright, so now everything's looking good. So what we're looking at is still static content in the dashboard index view. What we want to do is pull in the dynamic content from the database that we added in the controller. Alright, because if we go to the articles controller, let me just close some of these. I'm sorry, the dashboard controller. We're pulling out the articles, categories, and users. So now we can use these inside of the dashboard index view. All right. So what I'm going to do is just paste this in. All right. So basically, we just have our heading and the latest articles area, which is a table. And for the table rows, we're creating a loop, a for each loop. And this articles right here, this variable, this content is coming from our dashboard controller right here, and we're passing it into our view right here. So for articles is article, and then we can access the fields like this: article ID, title, category name. Alright, so down here we have our categories doing the same thing, category ID, name, and then we have our edit and delete buttons, which are going to category / edit, which we haven't created yet, / and then we're putting in the ID. Delete, we're doing the same thing, we're passing it to the delete function in the categories controller. So, and then down here we're doing the same with the user. Alright, so pretty easy. Let's go ahead and save this and make sure this is working. Alright, so now you can see that this is all information that's coming in from the database. In the next video, we'll look at actually doing this with the articles page, categories, users, and so on.